All right, I think we're ready to go.
Good stuff. Now, Rebecca can hear us, but she can't speak. Is that correct? We'll do in the chat function, possibly we can read out any comments you might have, Rebecca, and we can just do voting by show of hands. Great. So, welcome to this extraordinary council meeting. It's being held here in the summer room and via audio visual conference with the Council of Fox. All members participating via video conference will count for the purpose of the meeting order in accordance with clause 25B of Schedule 7 of the Local Government Act 2002, and it's being live streamed to the Council's YouTube channel. The information, Councillor Hay, would you like to read the information?
Yes. We pledge that we will faithfully and impartially use our skill, wisdom and judgment throughout discussions and deliberations ahead of us today in order to make responsible and appropriate decisions for the benefit of the South Wairarapa district at large. We commit individually and as a council to the principles of integrity and respect and to upholding the vision and values we have adopted in our long-term land strategic document in order to energise, unify and enrich our district.
Next, apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Jepson. I don't think we have any others, do we? No. Who would like to move and to accept the apology? Second and Colin. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, the motion is carried. Do we have any conflicts of interest to be clear? Good. Acknowledgements and tributes. Acknowledgements or tributes since our last meeting. Public participation. We have no public participation. Extraordinary business. Do we have any extraordinary business to add? In conjunction with the CE, though, we have decided to withdraw item B3, the Wairarapa Economic Development Strategy Refresh for 2022. Because we've been informed by WEDS that there will be some further changes to be made to the strategy in light of recent feedback from 3 councils and leaders. We require a new version for this report to make any decisions going forward.
Would we give a time frame with female venture presented?
They're looking at proposing it sometime in August. Yeah. So if it still fits in with the time frame. Any comments on that? Any other comments? Moving forward then. Decision reports B1. Partnership funding request for the 2021-22 report. Do we have a move to receive the report? Lee, thank you. Seconded. Pam, excellent. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Great. All those against, the motion is carried. We have the report in front of you. Do you have any questions? I'm sure there will be robust discussion on this one. Lee, you start.
Yes, I've got a question. I understood that Great Trustlands Trust had changed their position since we were given this paper and agreed to fund them for this current year. I'm unsure whether that's as of 1st April 2023, but do you agree?
Sure, thank you for that, Lee. I did talk to the chairman of the board just to get some clarification of some points that have been raised. One is that the full $45,000 funding for the 2021-22 year has been paid. So there's no necessarily a shortfall, even though they're not flush at all. And also any funding from this year's community grants will not be taken by the trust as reimbursement for funding. Right? So that was an important clarification. They were saying your funding might be 45, but if you receive any external funding, we will reduce that from our funding, and that's not the case for this year. They've also, the chair has confirmed that after a very recent meeting, the funding of 45,000 for the 2023 year has been confirmed. So the status, the surety of continuation for the Greyhound Sports and Leisure Society has been confirmed.
So in effect, this makes this decision somewhat irrelevant.
They have, I think you'll find that the request still stands because we were looking at potentially helping them out with funding on the basis that they would be looking at extending or offering their services to the South Wairarapa as opposed to exclusively Greater. And that would be a critical, I would think, on any funding to say that that's where that funding would be going. But let's open this up to discussion. Colin.
Yeah, so thanks, Alex. So given that our funding stream would be on that basis that they would look at the entire South Wairarapa, which fits the Matamara. And the funding is fairly secure for this particular financial year via Greytown District Trust, Lands Trust. Would it not be better for them to come to us now as a proposal that would support the inclusion of the other two towns rather than just focusing on Greytown Sport and Leisure for future funding from council? That's my thoughts. Is that I'd certainly like to see a paper where we're all inclusive rather than just exclusive to Greytown.
I think any funding would be important from our perspective that it's equal across all the towns.
Absolutely.
Certainly, that we can still look at this funding with that as a rider to the funding.
So this language is quite important, and I think it's important to realise that this is not about Greytown Sport and Leisure taking over anything in any other town. It's about providing a model that has worked really, really well in Greytown, and offering that model into the other towns to increase sport participation at clubs and things in the other town. And we've seen in Greytown that the uptake of sport and leisure across the board, and if you look at the numbers at Greytown, it's almost 50% of the community is now involved in some form of sport and recreation, which is pretty high for any metric you take. And that's the model we're looking at doing. Whether that then becomes an umbrella group or whatever, there's not really the issue. It's actually how do we expand that model so that we can get the sport and leisure uptake across the district at a high level.
And
So language is really,
and making money on the clubs easier for
and it's an administrative thing. It's not a,
But we've been there and tried to say we have been there.
yeah, but it's not a directive, it's not opt-in.
So with that in mind, that what we're talking about is going out and offering the model, do you know, and because I did notice that you said we a few times, so I don't know that you've been dealing with them, so that might be where the we comes in.
no, I'm talking about sort of the council week rather, because the funding would be then across the district. Council week went to that.
So what I'm just wondering is, so have they already taken that, like have they done any
No.
steps about taking the model to find out?
My understanding
Okay,
is,
that's not
my
model,
understanding
yeah.
is no, not yet. I understand that they are developing a package to take. That's what they want to do. Is work with the council.
Have you heard anything about the amount to get that package done? Because, looking at something like 10,000 for this, I think was probably a lot. That wouldn't actually be needed, especially just to put together a package that that you just
So
wanted to
the
take.
last time that Alex and I met with their board, we said to them that it is really important from a funding perspective for the council that they develop a package to offer this out and try and somehow expand it so that we can then come back to council and say, yes, we are providing the same money across the district.
And by we, now that you're saying we, are you talking about Greytown Sports and Leisure, or are you talking about you and
About we
Alex?
as council, if we were going to fund this, it would be really important. This is what Alex and I said to Greytown Sport and Leisure board, was if you want to come to council for money, it is really important from council that it is district-wide as opposed to one town, because that becomes divisive. So we have encouraged them to say, if you want council money, this is a better way in which you can seek money by expanding the offer across. So that's where that was a few months ago.
We've got a question on chat. Just one second.
Hi team, can you hear me?
Also don't get questions. So Gareth.
Just following on that comment, if it is fit to go to presentation paper, then that's probably possible, but, and we did have to alter, page 5.6, 2.1.4, which is about, no, ineligible for, salaries, rents, rates, insurance, blah, 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 because I think we're only looking at maybe a small presentation to go to two organisations. Yeah, it's a different animal.
In order to get over that, if we designated a partnership funding model which allows money to go to salary. So there'll be a partnership funding model for 1 year because we can't extend past this training.
Yeah, surely it's just we're going to get a contract or get an advisor to write something. It's not going to be a.
No, I think the plan is to do it in-house with the staff that they have.
So why would we fund it?
Because they don't have the capacity with at the current level of funding for the hours that they spent. So,
I think I was fit.
okay.
So just based on the paper that we've been presented, it seems that this proposition is slightly different.
Yeah.
So I would prefer to see, I think it's an excellent idea, don't get me wrong, to apply a great model to Featherston and Martin. I think it's, particularly if sports and leisure could package it up so it's easy to use, easy to practice. But I think they need to present a separate paper to us with that proposal in mind. And I'm unsure that that would cost 10.7 thousand. I doubt it, but I don't know. You don't know, there might be software packages involved that would need to be moved over. But I prefer this to come to the council meeting and with that very proposal in mind. Because they're obviously covered from what we see they're covered in July.
I understand that. Well, at a lower, at a minimum level, I think the minimum level is the current funding. There is also the desire of Greytown Trustlands Trust to slowly remove funding, and which is a better thing than quickly removing it. So we're doing the
So that would be what I prefer to see, because I think in its current state, this paper really doesn't answer the funding question.
And we've got an online comment from Councillor Fox, which we do need additional information because there's information missing. We don't have partnership information, we need to make sure it is a district-wide lens, and we also don't have a clear direction for them about how they will extend the funding, or I suppose the funding of all their services. So, yeah.
And then just like be interested to actually receive a copy of the partnership policy. We have one. Or is it just in brief? We don't actually have.
We don't have a partnership policy.
So by saying that we receive a partnership funding, we don't actually have a policy that we can actually review and hear it.
There's a clause in, sorry, to the chair, there's a clause in the grants policy that refers to partnership funding.
It's quite clearly spelled out in the funding.
Yeah, thanks.
If they're going to extend what they would like to do through the Featherston and Martinborough, I think there are in our coastal areas some sports groups and things like that, and I'd quite like to see rugby club and things like that.
Yes.
See that.
That's good. I think we would speak to it in the future. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, so given that conversation, would it not be better for Radio and Sport and Leisure to come back to this council, for instance, with their proposed model, which would be a South Warringah Sports and Leisure, or something similar, that captures exactly what Pam's talking about. I mean, this paper really isn't relevant to this conversation. I really feel that we perhaps need to be presented something that's district-wide.
I think we probably is it.
The last comment.
And additional from Councillor Fox, it would be helpful to see a strategy about longevity and how they might become self-sustaining. Yes, certainly, if you get, in addition to this, I had following Nuku Ora's changing of the guard, I've actually printed this up, and really this part of this sort of funding should be coming from Nuku Ora. You know, they do a bit of rights for him with the money, but the question will be how much of it is directly contributed to the South Wairoa. So I had put that up to the new CEO to be considered when they like.
Alex, maybe what might be useful is if we put an invitation to the board, rather than great day-to-day operations, of get the board to come and ask them to present to us and say what their vision is and how they would see their expansion. And that might give us a steer about where we go with this.
And so that could be done at our last council meeting of the year. We're still in time to allocate funding. Is it all good?
Well, it doesn't necessarily need to be about funding allocation at that stage, but to get an idea from them how they look progressing us and what support they might need from us in the future and so on and so forth. But if we speak to the board, we've got more chance of actually getting a bit of traction. And nothing against Rosa, because Rosa does a superb job, but actually put with the board, we seek the guidance is the right
Would
way
be
to
useful just to actually the board and the Greytown Trust Lands Trust to have a group conversation. So as it's their current main funder, we can all have a.
Well, I think Greytown Trust Lands Trust is separate to the issue. They are an independent organisation that makes funding decisions based on their own priorities. What we're talking about here is where is Greytown's, what is it about Greytown's Sport Measure that makes it very good? And is it something that would be beneficial to the greater South Wairoa, and how they do that?
If that is to happen, for you, your worship, if that is to happen, I'd like to see something a lot more robust, like what the modelling package is that they're saying they're going to take. You know, like what that will look like, because they already know, because they've got their own model, so it's already in place. That's not going to cost anything to actually say, but also to go and get a feel, because we know that 6 years ago, or roughly 5 or 6 years ago, it was taken out and was not taken up by either Featherston or Martinborough, like districts, boards. So I think it's really important that before we start putting any of our rate funding in, that we actually have something a lot more robust.
I certainly not talking about funding for the state.
Councillor Fox, was that an agreement with that? Was it? Yeah.
So one of the other concerns, of course, is with a model that's proposed by Greytown Sport and Leisure. One of the second, of course, is that they've got to combine those sporting codes within Martinborough and Featherston and the likes of Caltra. So they've got to be part of the conversation. So round table, I think there's a little bit of work to do before anything concrete comes out of this.
I'm fine with I'm going to, given the tone and content of the conversation, that we defer making a decision pending further planning from Greytown Sports and Leisure on a viable South Wairoa strategy.
I think one of the other things that this is really highlighting is that we don't have a partnership policy, but we've actually created a loophole where organisations can come to us and get partner funding for administration. So if we have a policy that can spell it out, maybe some council advice.
Through your worship, it's a gap that we have identified when we did the policy review and looked at the strategic risk best practice. A partnership policy is a good practice for most councils to have. So we have identified that as a gap. The other thing that we've identified is that in the grants policy, there isn't the flexibility to make decisions like this as much as you might like in the context of how can you grow, support organisations in a more long-term way or in a more cohesive way, understanding where else they're getting funding from. So we really want to review both of those.
Although I get that, I think our main concern with the funding policy was regards to
making organisations more self-sufficient rather than reliant on funds from property.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Becoming dependent on.
Yeah.
So that's the things that you
Point
found.
that Councillor Fox mentioned, making self-sufficient. I think it's always difficult when you're reliant on charities, in Trust House, at least it's in, to have that surety quality.
I'd just like to take note that they have made an extraordinary attempt in funding from elsewhere that we really look
Yeah, I'd just like to make a point about Greytown Trustlands Trust and a few, we all spoke about this 2 years ago in our plan when we were talking about the provision of green space for Greytown. And I remind everybody that at that stage, when we looked at the figures, the Greytown Trustlands Trust was providing almost half the green space for Greytown, and basically absolving the council of all responsibilities. Now, as we know from then, Greytown Greytown Trustlands Trust advised us there that that wasn't sustainable into the long-term future, and that's why we voted $2 million into green space. So I just want to make that point that whilst we are very thankful for the support from Greytown Trustlands Trust, I think we need to acknowledge that it's not sustainable, as they've said, for the long term. So we need to be ready to look at how we can support our community facilities going forward, and picking up the slack that we haven't done that many years. So that's,
And from there, we might look at either community funding or the XLT.
yeah, but I just want to make a point about where we were with Greytown Trustlands Trust, because they have, they provided huge facilities for Greytown residents for many, many years. Eventually, we are going to have to pick up the slack. Well, they've done green space and funding.
So, I'd like someone to propose that we defer making a decision until further information is received. Moved by Colin, seconded by Lee. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, motion is carried. One, thank you, Gavin. Now, on to B2, the dog control fees for 2022. Do we have a mover to receive this report? Thank you very much. Brenda, seconded. Pam, all those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, motion is carried. Rick, Mr. Lee. Would you like to talk to this report or anything we do have in front of us?
So this is the annual report, as the fee structure for our animal control. Dogs. The report is pretty self-explanatory. The salient point for this one is that officers have suggested a no fee increase, that we maintain the fees that we currently have within our structure. And that's it.
Are you going to do that in the area of 7% inflation?
Yeah, I think as we weigh it all up, I think we can maintain what we've got for this financial year in terms of registrations.
Councillor Maynard.
Thank you for your report, and that's nice as a dog owner to see that it's not going up this year. The only thing that I wanted to check is that there seems to be more, I guess, ratepayers coming in who may not be using it as a full-time home, but are bringing their animals across. How are we monitoring that? The dog population tends to slow here into weekends, and it's by people who are owning their own places here. Is there anything from us there to ensure that even if they're not registered with us, that they are registered?
Yes, so if their primary base is not here, so from Wellington, they're registered in Wellington, they should show them dogs. If they come to our attention, one hopes that we've registered or they have microchips so that we can look up on the National Dog Database to understand where they are registered, and if they're not. Then we do the education and can registered with ourselves or with the owner.
That would raise an interesting point, because someone who has done 2 homes could register their dog in the cheapest area, potentially.
Absolutely.
Registration fees compared to, say, Wellington or,
Oh, I think we've been remiss, we were testing our fees against Wellington.
I'm curious.
But within our partner areas, we're tracking all right. I think there's going to be movement in the next year or two across the board. And it just was prudent this year to take all considerations into account. And I think given that we're not we're able to sustain what we've got, there's a fine balance between if we push the rates too high and then you drop your compliance rate. So at the moment, we're outstandingly good in terms of both registration and microchip numbers.
Alison, you, and then Brenda, yep. Alison, you had a question?
No, I was just going to say, thanks, Rick, for your work on this. I'm very happy to propose that we adopt the dog fee structure.
Brenda?
Thanks, Rick, for the report. I've just had a look at Wellington City Council's dog fees, $176 for an entire dog, $127.50 for a neutered dog. So I think we're doing extremely well.
Well, look, I think and it shouldn't be underestimated, the service that this council provides to the region in regards to animal control is outstanding. I think we have some very outstanding staff, so we're delivering a heck of a service for what it is.
Thanks, Rick, and I'll be very happy to adopt your zero fee structure. Just a couple of quick questions. Just so if we had a Wellington tag dog that was impounded, so they'd be charged in the normal way.
Yeah, so the impound is based on our fee structure. The question would be if, and it would be a complaint base, so say they were joining our coastal region and we picked up a dog. And again, I'm not harped on about this. We're very educational in terms of how we pick up our dogs now, so we're very keen to try and get them back to your owners and release them. But if we impound it, we stay with our
And just one other point, it's good to see the zero fees for disability dogs. Has that always been in a source, or is that been needed?
It
wasn't quite clear before.
Yeah, the wording was there, but it just wasn't as clear. And I thought that just to make it, given that we now know we have at least one individual with a service dog, I just want to make it crystal clear. They have been raised some questions previously.
Good to see. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Any other questions on this one? Oh, yes, sorry.
Rick, I was just going to make a comment on the fact that the work that you are doing with stray dogs and things like that to get them back to their owners without having to impound them. I think that's commendable. How much do you think that is impacting on your income? Obviously, it's going to lower the income you're getting because of the work you're doing. Is that making much of a difference?
I couldn't quantify as to what that is, I suppose we've changed the methodology or the philosophy and how we're doing it. So we're very much about looking at educating owners and actually having more responsible and compliant owners. Yes, it would affect the bottom line if it was hard and counted everything we picked up. But I think what we're trying to do is get a buy-in with our dog owners to understand why we're picking them up, or whether it's a misstep. And I think if we're more viable, for want of a better word, and how we interact, I think we get a better buy-in with our community in regards to that. It doesn't mean we're being soft in terms of what we're doing, but it naturally does have a bottom line. But
What I hear in the community is that team is human, and I think that goes a long way with the kudos and things like that are out. The team doing it, best person.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I think we really tried hard over the last few years to change that perception of who we are from the dog ranger tyrant to actually understanding and working with the community.
Just got one more correction, if you don't mind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I just read wrong. So in the financial consideration, so you've got these fees are based on a 60-70 split for private good and a 30-40 for public good. It should be the other way around. It should be 40-30, because otherwise you've got one at 90% and one at 100%.
And what would we do with that?
Sorry.
That's all right, that's all right.
So, that's a good point. Okay, guys, do we have a movement to adopt the proposed dog control fees for 2022-2023 and authorise council officers to give public notice of fees?
Alice proposed it.
No, if you didn't propose,
Sorry.
all those in favour, please raise your hand. Right, all those against, the motion is carried.
You just want to do amendments.
Hey guys, good day, thank you very much, short and sweet, and I close the council meeting.